Hey everybody, this is George Brasher with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
How's it going, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together, the two of us make up this little spiel known as the Two Irish Brothers Show. First off, you guys all know the drill. I say it every video. Ben says it too. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you don't have a YouTube channel, create one and come back and do that again. Damn it. We need your guys' support. Also, hit either the like or the dislike tab. That helps with the algorithm. Also, as you guys know, we've been helping Irv Smith and his former teammates promote their trip to Ireland next year for Notre Dame and Navy. So make sure you guys go check out that plan that he's promoting. And trip of a lifetime, man. Notre Dame Navy in Ireland, plus golf if you're a golfer. And I know you golfers love that game very much. But anyway, with that said, as you guys can tell, Ben and I have a special guest joining us today. His name is Vince Rizzuto, and we have been helping him promote his trip for the past couple of episodes. So, Vince, welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's exciting.
Not a problem.
Yeah, it's always great when we're able to have another guest join us on the show. And this is the great thing about YouTube. You know, people only hear about the bad stuff, but it is possible to make friends on it as well and meet new people. And it's just, that part is well worth it. So Vince, before we get any further here, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Philadelphia guy. Obviously, I got my Phillies on over here. We are diehard sports fans in Philadelphia. So we decided to start a company, my wife and I, and one of my business partners, and it's called Philly Sports Trips. And we take fans all over the country to see their Philly sports teams. So we are travel agents, but we specialize in tailgating, group flights. We charter airplanes. We team up with ex-players and ex-coaches, and we're really all about the fan experience. So Philadelphia fans are passionate, but Notre Dame fans are also very passionate. And we've started to kind of get into college football a little bit, where I went to University of Maryland. I'm a Terp. So we did a Penn State, Maryland trip. And this year, the Eagles play in Indianapolis. So we put a trip out there. We thought it would, get a little bit of interest. At one point in time, Carson Wentz, the ex-quarterback of the Eagles, was there, and we thought that would be the big rivalry, but now he's down in Washington. So my business partner said, wow, I think Notre Dame's not too far from there. So we looked, and it happens to be the Holy War, the Notre Dame BC game the day before. So we said, why not? Let's build a bus trip and see if people are interested. So we put it out there. We had 50 people sign up for the full trip. And of the 50 people signed up for the Notre Dame. So it seems like we're bringing more Notre Dame fans out to Indianapolis than Eagles fans. So it seems there's a ton of people in Philadelphia that love Notre Dame football. There's a lot of Irish people. There's a lot of Italians like myself as well. But I'm excited because it'll be my first Notre Dame game. I've always loved the football program, the history, the passionate sports fans. So we're excited.
Awesome, man. And so with that said, Ben and I have been like we said at the start, we've been promoting your package for you, and it was nice enough for you to reach out to us. That's That's really awesome. I'm glad you saw the show and you wanted us to help you, and we're very glad to do that for you. And if you wouldn't mind, because we've just been posting the little screenshot that I took of your website here. So if you don't mind, what all does this package include aside from what people just saw on the screen there?
Sure. I mean, so there's the full package, and we've been promoting that since the schedule release in May, and that includes your airfare, your hotel in Indianapolis. On Sunday, we have a tailgate and a game ticket, and then the option to go to Notre Dame on Saturday. And the Saturday bus trip, we booked one bus. It includes the 2.5 hour ride there and back, some food and drinks on the bus, and a game ticket with the group. It kind of took off more than we thought, so we decided to add a second bus. We now have 100 game tickets and about 40 or 50 spots left, and we're offering this bus trip as a standalone for any fan that is already out in the Indianapolis area. Maybe they're not flying with us, or they already are planning to go to Indianapolis and stay with family members. You can now just book the bus trip. So we're really trying to get as many fans out to Notre Dame as possible. I don't think any BC fans are in the list right now. So we're bringing the good guys to the stadium.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, BC has a pretty decent brand. They're recognizable, but Notre Dame, I mean, not to sound pious or arrogant or anything, but everybody knows Notre Dame is a national brand coast to coast, and we even spread out there globally even. So it's the pretty good choice when you're trying to book a sports trip.
Yeah. It's exciting.
So you guys are flying out of Philadelphia, or can anybody fly from anywhere?
Yeah, so we always try to have flexibility. The interesting thing about a lot of sports fans is they come from all over, right? So we always do a self-travel package where people can fly from wherever they are. Maybe they live in Indianapolis, but they just want to get the hotel room. So we really have all those different levels of packages. Some people just join us on the game day for the tailgate party, and that's a good way to meet them. And then, in the future, they end up saying, well, this was kind of complicated doing all my own travel. Maybe I'll give you guys a try. So that's sort of how we've built our company over the years. Just treating people the right way and providing really great experiences.
And that $13.99, is that the one price for everything, or?
Yeah, that's like the all-inclusive, your own hotel room, your own flight, the game ticket, and the tailgate. So that's the top price. The bus trip, I think it's about $350, $375 for the bus trip that takes care of your full day from Indy. You don't have to worry about parking, about driving, about your drinks or food. So that's the full package for the day. It's $375.
Okay,
for the Notre Dame package. Yeah.
So you basically can select what you want to do, the full package, or if you just want to show up on game day.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Okay. Yep. Anything else that potential travelers might need to know for that day?
Weekend? I mean, to be honest, we've done so many bus trips at this point. We really put a lot of pride into it. We have a lot of fun on the bus ride down. We might do some giveaways. I might reach out to you guys and get some suggestions because some of these people I've reached out and they're doing this trip for Notre Dame, not for the Eagles, and it's their first Notre Dame game, and they've been fans their whole life. So we don't take that lightly. Like, we have the responsibility to really make people have a good experience. So it's going to be a fun bus trip. It's not a yellow school bus. There's going to be a bathroom on there. We're going to be probably play some Notre Dame highlights, or there's a couple good movies that I don't want to say it on here and get yelled at, but there's some good Notre Dame movies. Maybe you like them. We could play one of those or some highlights. So we're going to try to make it like a full day. We take care of you. Just lay back, sit back, and enjoy it.
Well, of course, Ben, I'm sure Rudy's always a good movie, good choice.
I like Rudy. I didn't want to.
Well, let me ask you, Ben. Have you ever seen Newt Rockne All American?
I don't think I have.
With the famous actor Pat O'Brien, that was made back in the 40s?
No, I have not seen that one.
Well, as a fan, you need to check it out. And Vince, even though you may not be a Notre Dame fan, that's a good
Yeah.
one for you to check out too. It
Okay.
was Newt Rockne All-American.
All right.
So with that said, folks, Vince here is laying it all out himself, but if you guys have any interest, especially those of you who live in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania region, but as Vince just said, anybody from anywhere can participate in this trip. So we'll have the link down in the description box below to his website, Philly Sports Trips, excuse me.
Yeah.
And take advantage of it, because even if you're just there for the Notre Dame BC game alone, you do get an NFL game included in this. So it sounds like a pretty cool package to me.
It's the first time that I can remember where you're going to see a great college football game and hopefully a good NFL game in the same weekend. So that's the ultimate football weekend. There's a lot of father-son combos, a lot of husband and wives, but now we're starting to get a group of 8 and a group of 12 and a group of 10. And it's exciting. So we'll keep it going. We appreciate you guys helping us and promote it, and we're looking forward to hopefully drinking a beer or 10 down in South Bend.
Well, I know this. I can tell you this much, if it helps geographically. Indianapolis is more south in the state of Indiana, and South Bend is northwest. So it's pretty much by Chicago, and Michigan. Michigan's right there. So no, we'll definitely meet up with you there. For those of you who don't know, Ben and I are going to the Notre Dame BC game, and actually, Notre Dame and Boston College used to be an annual rivalry, but since BC is now part of the ACC and Notre Dame is independent, they're not exactly able to play every year. So it's a pretty special matchup, and I hope we kick the crap out of BC, because they've spoiled some good seasons for us in the past.
I'm rooting for you guys.
93 and 2002.
And this is a good game to go to because Dracovic comes back home for the first time ever. So this will be a really interesting matchup.
Well, you see,
what advice do you have for me, real quick? To what should I wear? Like, am I allowed to wear a Notre Dame shirt or jersey if I'm like a new fan? How does that work?
Yes.
I would, in my opinion, I would suggest just looking up Notre Dame, watching some highlights to see former players. I mean, I would definitely watch anything from that 88 national title season. But even going back to the 60s and 70s, Joe Theismann and Paul Hornung and just anything from that time period. The Lou Holtz era, which was the late 80s to the early to mid 90s. Ben, what would you suggest?
I would suggest dressing a little warmly, though. I mean, this is November in South Bend, so it's gonna be a little chilly that day. So I would dress warm for sure.
Okay, good advice.
And
I don't see a problem with wearing Notre Dame attire if you're new to learning about the team.
If you were going to a Philly game in November, then whatever you'd be wearing to that Philly game is what I would be wearing to the Notre Dame game.
Okay, I like that. Eagles green is kind of a little different, so I might have to purchase my first Notre Dame gear.
There's a lot of Notre Dame fans though that are Eagle fans. So and I mean, people forget, Golick played for the Eagles.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of Notre Dame history with the Eagles. So
cool.
So,
well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I got to get back to my 2 little girls, but I'd love to come back another time if you'll have me on again.
For sure.
Absolutely. I mean, this is primarily a Notre Dame channel, yes, but we're not opposed to talking about other things that are going on in the world of sports. I mean, we've been talking a lot about the conference realignment stuff with college football. We covered the USFL for its first season, and those videos were kind of a hard sell. But no, we're not opposed to discussing anything.
But hey, the city of Philadelphia was represented in that final, so there you go.
Very true. Very true.
Real quick, how did the city respond to the Stars in the USFL? Was there kind of a buzz with them, or?
There was an underground buzz, we'll call it that. is invested as we are as a company in all the sports teams, it's hard to like have that passion for so many teams. And what the trend that I see at least is that Philly was always 4 for 4, and that means the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, and the Sixers, and now they're starting to have room for the Union, the soccer team, because so it's hard. So I have some friends that were following the Stars, and they really enjoyed that. But it's how much room do you have in your heart, as a sports fan for another team? So I think like anything, it's going to take time. But the Union, it's taken about 12 years now, but it's starting to get there. So Philly fans are passionate and loyal, but it takes a little bit of time for them to gain their loyalty.
Well, that makes sense actually, because you said it yourself, being of Italian heritage, Italians love their soccer, man.
Yeah, they do.
Big soccer,
and the World Cup coming to the U.S. I mean, that's another topic for another day, maybe, because that's huge. Yes. That's really going to change things, having those games all over.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, you have a good rest of your day, dude. And
thank you
for coming on.
I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, and enjoy. Go back and enjoy your family, man.
Thank you, and I hope you guys have a good start to the season.
I hope so too. We're praying for it.
Take care.
You too.
Thanks again.
Thank you. All right. Well, that was Vince Rizzuto, everyone, and like I said, great dude. Has an awesome package that he's offering, and if you guys are any of you guys are interested, check out that link below. And I mean, hey, like we said, it's a Notre Dame football game and an NFL game in the same weekend. So check it out and give it some thought, and join them for an awesome trip and an awesome weekend of football. So with that said, Ben, a couple of big things to talk about, some awesome news and some unfortunate news, but we'll start with the good news first. Marcus Freeman made it official, and Tyler Buchner is officially Notre Dame's starting quarterback to start the 2022 campaign. Now, what are your thoughts? You throw out the first shot, man.
Not surprising in my opinion. I think the big difference between Pine and Buchner is just the fact that Buchner is that dual threat quarterback. And Buchner and Pine is more of the pocket passer. And not that a pocket passer can't succeed in this game, obviously, but Buchner just has, in my opinion, the more athleticism tools to make himself electric and be the quote unquote game changer that you will for Notre Dame. But if Pine had been named the starting quarterback, I would not have been upset either, if that says anything.
No, it makes perfect sense. And that's what I thought too, is, with Tyler, even though he was inconsistent last year, he showed a lot of flashes of what he can do. And I think if once he's put together 100%, he's going to be a force to reckon with, because we saw it. And people think this isn't that big of a deal, but it really is. I mean, as smooth of a handoff transition that he makes and then just explodes out and takes off, I mean, that's a very big factor when it comes to quarterbacks. And even with his inconsistent accuracy, he still was able to make some great throws last year. I mean, he showed how good he can be when he is accurate on his passing game. And so he was just raw talent last year. And I think now that he has, even though he missed the spring game, he has a full year of practice. And now he knows that he's going to be the starting quarterback. So he can really get to work now on becoming that leader, learning that playbook, lining guys up and taking control of that offense. So, but at the same time, like you said, Drew Pine, if he was named the starter, I wouldn't be disappointed either, because he does have that knowledge of the playbook. He does maybe not exactly has things down to a science, but he is, advanced in that area. And like with both these guys, there's pros and cons. But at the same time, I think both of them with their cons can be figured out and solved.
Yeah, Pine throws a very pretty ball. I mean, let's not, get it twisted. He can throw well when if he needs to. So, I mean, to me, it's a good problem in my opinion to have at Notre Dame, having him and Buchner.
Yes.
You really can't go wrong with either guy. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is going to be this will be the biggest game that Buchner has ever started in.
Yes.
And I mean, it's, baptism by fire, man. You're going to go into hostile territory. You're going to go into what, depending on who you talk to, a rival team in Ohio State with a very ruckus crowd. And I mean, Ohio State has been one of probably the 5 gold standards in college football in the last decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. So this is going to be a humdinger for him. I mean, this is going to be huge.
And that's the thing with Ohio State. I mean, unlike us, they have climbed over the top of the mountain and they have gotten to the top
multiple times.
Yes, and we've sniffed it. We've sniffed it in recent history, but we haven't gotten to the top of the mountain yet. And this will be a good opportunity for not just Tyler Buchner, but this team in general to see if we can finally get over that hump and climb that mountain and get to the top. So it's going to be interesting to see here in a couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
So am I. So
now with the good news and the opportunity for Tyler Buchner to get his opportunity to start, we also had some unfortunate news as well, and man, I feel for this guy very much.
Yeah.
We all know it by now. Avery Davis, our wide receiver and captain too, is now going to be lost for the 2022 season with another ACL injury. And all I know is I really feel for the guy. I mean, he has worked so hard to come back, and now he has that injury again. And what sucks even more is I don't know if he can come back for another year. I don't know if his football career is over after this. There's just so many things that you can't help but think about. But
yeah,
this does hurt with our receiving core for sure.
Yes, it does. Yes. I mean, like you said, I feel terrible for the guy. Had a 4 touchdown, just under 400-yard season last year. Season was cut short, Navy game, with an ACL injury last year. So yeah, it stinks. It absolutely stinks. And it's going to have to be next man up. And I wish him nothing but the best, really. I mean, there's not much else you can say. So it's just and it's a small room now. It's a very small receiver room with his injury. So
yes,
Notre Dame is going to have to weather this storm that is within the program, not even, a game or voters and things that are, out of their control. I mean, this is going to be, a storm that's got to be weathered. So
yes, I agree.
It's going to get very interesting and see who steps up and fills that void, because I mean, it's right now, 5 guys?
Yeah, we're looking at a receiving core of now Braden Lindsay is our most experienced wide receiver, along with Joe Wilkins, but Joe Wilkins is going to be out for the Ohio State game, and who knows how long after that. But behind him, you have guys like Lorenzo Styles, and who I even said that I think is going to be the breakout guy this year on our offense. But then behind him, you got Deion Colsey, who right now is, I think, in a walking cast. I don't know how severe the injury is with him. And then after him, you have Tobias Merriweather, who sounds like he has a lot of promise for a freshman. But also the good one, and then Matt Salerno, he's the other one who's kind of like your Chris Fink kind of player.
Yeah,
I think. But I think too, with being so short in the receiving group, you're also gonna have to rely a lot on your tight ends, and I'm talking about Michael Mayer, and I'm still getting familiar with the names behind him on the tight end depth chart. But I also heard that Marcus Freeman may possibly look at putting some safeties in the receiving spot, maybe even spread out some tight ends in the receiving spots as well, and like, the X or whatever. But that's not that, honestly, that's not really an uncommon thing, because I've seen tight ends the last several years line up outside and not just, on the inside by the offensive line. Because I know Kyle Rudolph, he used to do that quite a bit. A lot of these very athletic tight ends, they have done that plenty of times.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to panic just yet. It's really bad right now, yes, but I do think we have not only some guys ready to step up, but there is talent there.
Yes.
And Tyler was even saying that, he's formed a great connection with all these guys in the receiving room, and I think they'll be ready to go even without Avery Davis. But of course, I'm not gonna say that that's not a problem, because Avery was such he was such a dynamic player and made such a huge difference for our offense.
Yeah. Yep.
But the good thing though is Avery Davis, even though this just happened to him, he is a true class act. He is sticking with these guys. He is still, right there with them, encouraging them and being a mentor, and he's showing a very positive vibe, despite the fact that he is sidelined, that he's out.
Yep.
And that shows nothing. That's true class and character right there.
Yep.
But something I want your opinion on, Ben, is what do you think this does for Avery Davis's future in football? I mean, do you think it's over? Do you think can he even come back for another year if he wanted to, or is his
I don't know the logistics of that. I do not know, because he is a 6th-year player this year. So I don't know what that entails for him.
That's true.
I am a person that I never say never, so I would not say that his career is over. Like, I don't like saying that. But I mean, it makes one wonder, and it's got to be a very, very, very difficult decision for someone at his age and his talent level to make.
And this may sound like a stupid question to some of the people watching, but I ask that because, well, normally I would say no, yep, he's definitely done. He can't come back. But I ask because, COVID, that gave a lot of guys an extra year, extra time. With Avery's injury, could it give him another chance to come back? And so I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Nope, I do not know that answer, and that is something to definitely look up. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you do in that situation? If you come back the following year, do you come back? Or
I don't know.
Do you hope that you can find a spot in the NFL after this year? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think this is one option to look to, is if he can't come back for another year. I mean, because he's going to be, I think he'd be 25 then, something like that, somewhere in there.
I'd have to look up his.
He'd be in his early to mid 20s, and you've already had 2 ACL injuries in that case. One route to go would possibly be the USFL and try to make the NFL that way. But at the same time, two ACL injuries, that can derail a lot of guys' careers. So who knows? But just something to think about. But the good news is he'll have a Notre Dame degree. He will be okay in his life for sure. So
yeah.
But with that said, the last thing I wanted to talk about briefly is there's a lot more news in college football conference realignment, and one of the big news stories that came out recently is the Big Ten. They have broken their relationship with ESPN, so for the first time in 40 years, you will not see Big Ten football or Big Ten basketball on ESPN, and it sounds like they are forming a deal with all three different big name TV networks. You have NBC, CBS, and Fox. So the Big Ten is making a deal with all three of those networks. Now, we know what's been going on with Notre Dame. They've been trying to renegotiate with NBC to make $75 million on an annual basis. It sounds like now the Big Ten could become that partner that they're looking for the NBC aspect of it, because NBC wanted to have another conference to show its games on along with Notre Dame. Now, my question is, with conference realignment and on a day-to-day basis, not knowing what's going on aside from the stuff that we already know with where teams are going at the moment, with the 4 teams to the Big 12, USC and UCLA to the Big 10, Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. Those are what we for sure know are happening, along with the movement in the Group of 5 conferences.
Right.
On a day-to-day basis, I'm not sure what the hell is going to happen, but I guess one thing I'd like to bring up or speculate on is if the NBC is going to be a part of this deal with the Big 10, could that entice Notre Dame to join that conference?
Yeah.
If things fall apart, like with the ACC and all these other scenarios that we're not for sure what's going to happen.
One would think that it is very enticing to Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame has had that long standing relationship with NBC. And I don't know. I mean, it's getting really, really interesting seeing everything unfold. And I really don't know what to hope for in this situation, to be very honest.
Me neither. It's like I said, go ahead, Ben. You were going to say something.
No, I just don't know. Do you hope for the Big Ten? Do you hope for the ACC? I mean, is the SEC even in the picture? We have really no legitimate evidence to go off of at this point. So, what do you do?
I don't know. There's a new story every day. It's hard to get a read or a vibe on what's going on. I think in Notre Dame's case, it's just best to let the dust settle and see what happens, see what your best options are. Because I know the contract is, if we join a conference before 2036, it has to be with the ACC. But who knows if the ACC is even going to be around by then? Because I know there's a lot of rumors with teams from the SEC and the Big Ten wanting to poach some teams from that conference.
Yeah.
There's also been rumors about the SEC and the Big Ten wanting to break away from the NCAA and form their own league essentially and have their own national champion. So there's just a lot of stuff being talked about right now, and I really don't know what to follow, what to read, what to get a.
Yeah,
it's also hard to follow. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, we do not have any clear evidence to go off of with regards to Notre Dame. I mean, so yeah, I mean, does it make sense that if NBC signs with the Big Ten that Notre Dame would join the Big Ten. I mean, logically, that makes the most sense. But will it happen? So
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, does USC going to the Big Ten, how much effect does that have on Notre Dame? How much pull does Southern Cal and their athletic director have with Notre Dame and Swarbrick? So I don't know. I don't know.
In this case, people, the old saying goes, that's the $1 million question. Well, in this case, there's several $1 million questions.
Yeah. Multi-million-dollar questions.
Or in this case with NBC, I would say the $75 million question.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's just it's become a case of which path to follow. And I'm not sure which one of those paths to follow. I mean, does one path lead to the land of Oz, or does one path lead down the crapper? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just so hard to predict at this point in time.
Yep.
So at this point in the show, Ben, I'm all out of stuff to talk about. Is there anything else you'd like to add that maybe we should talk about?
I got nothing.
Well, I don't either, but I will say this to all of you who are still watching at this point in the video. The season's rapidly approaching, and that means Ben and I will be doing our weekly preview and recaps for every single game on Notre Dame's schedule. So we'll do obviously the first week will be a little different because we won't have a game to recap. But when the season starts, we will recap or preview the Ohio State game, then recap it the following Sunday, and also we do our preview for the next game on Sunday as well, due to our work schedules, which we usually release on Wednesday. So that's how it's going to work once the regular season gets here. Also, Ben and I have set some different goals for ourselves, and I think I even alluded to this in a previous video. But listen, guys, help us grow this channel. We'd really appreciate it, and we'd like to think that we give you guys some pretty damn good content. Don't you think so, Ben?
I would hope so.
Yeah, same here. I hope so. I think we give everyone plenty to talk about. Even if you hate us, there's plenty of stuff to talk about at least. So listen, folks, our next goal is 500 subs.
Yep.
You guys help us get there. That's when Ben and I will start giving back to you guys and maybe do like a cash prize or something special. So help us reach that plateau, and we'll start giving back to you guys on the show, and it should be a lot of fun because we value those of you who view us.
Yep.
And we want to give back. So help us reach our plateau, help us reach every goal that we set for ourselves, and you will get something in return. And we'll start doing contests and something along those lines. So so on that note, everyone, I am ND Sean 45.
I am Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, every video, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.